This podcast was originally live-streamed on the NonSequitur show on YouTube. New episodes air weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/nonsequitur show. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsectshow.com/schedule. For the latest news, polls and updates throughout the day, follow us on Twitter at NonSecShow or Facebook.com/NonSecShow. That's NonSeq show. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, backstage access to chat with guests after shows hosted on your channel and much more, become a Patreon saint of NonSequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/nonsequitur today while the limited spots are still available.
The following podcast is intended for those who believe bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred. This is Non Sequitur. Never follow. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
Nothing but the blue moon. Sky so dark. As I reach out, while I am alone, looking up, the sky shimmers bright.
Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Kyle. I'm joined tonight by Shannon, the lovely Shannon Q.
Hi,
How are you, Shannon?
I'm good. I'm taking over. I took over the title screen. Everything's purple. I'm happy.
You did. And if you heard in the very beginning, people were commenting in the chat about that song. That is called Q.Spiracy. It will be featured on Shannon's when Shannon joins us for the talks with the conspiracy people like Rand Campbell. He's the first one coming up, so get excited for that. She's taking over.
Hey, that's right. I'm the
Let's say hello.
That's what happened.
Let's say hello to the man from the Atheist Republic, Armin. How's it going, sir?
Hi. Thank you for having me. By the way, I see Genetically Modified Skeptic. Drew is in the live chat. I also see Christy in the live chat. So some really good people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see who else
and Drew.
Who else I recognize.
There's some good people, and then there's also Drew.
That's my sparkles.
Drew.
Oh, I knew we were
Hey,
talking
Armin.
about.
This is great. We have a celebrity in the live chat. By the way, did you guys see the on Genetically Modified Skeptic? Did you see on his YouTube channel the video that he just posted of our trip to Palestine?
Yeah,
I have not watched that yet.
did.
Oh, you guys should go watch that.
It was, yeah, I did. It was fascinating.
Skeptic is in the live chat. You guys have some really good people in your live stream.
We have the best. We have the best live chat on YouTube, hands down. We're very proud of our live people. Let's jump right into it. Shannon, do you want to kind of give an intro to some of the things we're going to be talking about, and then we can just dive right in? I have no announcements that I'm going to do. We can just dive straight in.
Got nothing to say. All right, so this is Armin from the Atheist Republic. Obviously, he was kind enough to join us today. Armin and I have talked before. Armin, I always enjoy chatting with Armin, and he recently, one of the reasons that I reached out to him is that he was recently deplatformed. He was going to speak at a university in Calgary, and it was relatively near to the tragedy that happened in Christchurch in New Zealand. And as a reaction to that, because of the topic of conversation that Armin was going to be covered in the talk that was to happen, that talk was canceled. So I wanted to cover that a little bit, and I also wanted to kind of talk about the Atheist Republic and his recent trip to Palestine and Israel and some of the directions that Atheist Republic is taking. So we have a lot of ground to cover tonight. So I'll let Armin introduce himself and just talk a little bit briefly about who you are and what you do for anybody who's crazy enough not to be familiar with you.
Oh, no, you're being too generous. Well, I mean, okay, so just really quickly, founder of Atheist Republic, also the author of the book, Why There's No God. And also a co-host on the podcast, Secular Jihadist. That's all you need to know.
You also are the person who founded the largest atheist social media network, and I'm not sure if I'm using the right word to describe it, but essentially the largest kind of atheist institution in the world. You have, what is it, 5 million members now on
it's
Facebook
2,100,000, but yeah, not including Instagram, Twitter, and our newsletter subscribers. But yeah, we just recently beat our atheism on Reddit, so we are now the world's largest atheist community in the world.
Yeah,
that's excellent.
That's fantastic. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to kind of get right into it because I want to be respectful of your time. So
to keep this as long as we can. This is fun. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Great. Yeah. Armin, you're such a great conversation partner always. You're always so honest in dialogues. So essentially, you were supposed to be speaking at a university in Calgary, and it was already pre-booked and arranged. I was familiar with the fact that it was happening because my boyfriend, Paul, who runs a channel called Apologia. Yes, because he came to the other talk that you did at the Atheist Society. He was supposed to go, and not only was supposed to go, was actually supposed to be the person that was going to be filming that. So I kind of had a little bit of play-by-play and was getting incredibly frustrated with the situation and what was going on in some of the background. So I was hoping that you might be able to kind of give us a clear picture of exactly what happened in that situation, and then we can go from there.
Well, before I do, first let's give credit where credit is due. It was the Atheist Society of Calgary that invited me and also paid for my travel and all the expenses, and they were so kind and so nice to me. So Atheist Society of Calgary, they booked the venue, they managed everything, they invited people to come, and they booked 2 venues, one in a university and one in a private area later in the afternoon. And the university one was canceled again because of the Christchurch, the terrorist attack in New Zealand. So it was canceled, which was absolutely ridiculous. But I'm not very upset about it because every time these things happen, you get a lot more exposure than you originally planned. So I really don't understand what the plan here is. Like, is it they thinking like, okay, these ideas are dangerous, we need to silence it, and have they not seen how this plays out every time they do this? Because we got a lot more media attention. We got TV, we got radio. We got so many reporters reaching out to me, trying to get an interview about what happened. And, it got Atheist Republic got a lot more attention because of what they did. Atheist Society of Calgary got a lot more attention because of what they did. And to be fair to the university itself, this was not a decision, apparently. Like, the president of the university came out and said this was the wrong decision after. And they opened an invitation for me to go back there and speak. This was the first time I've seen like such a major correction of a decision that was made from a top official in a university, right? They said that this was a response to the attacks in New Zealand, but this is not what a university should. A university should support, dialogue and more speech. So this was the wrong decision to make. So the person that we got the email from was the interfaith, chaplain. I don't know what they call it. Yeah, something that decided to cancel it. But the president himself said this was the wrong decision. But and again, it just doesn't make sense. Imagine like if after every terrorist attack, Islamic terrorist attack, if you disinvited all imams or all Muslim speakers because this is not the right time, right? Imagine every time there's a terrorist attack somewhere in the world, an Islamic one, all Muslim speakers at every university get deplatformed because it's just too close to an Islamic terrorist attack. I mean, I wouldn't support that. I would like, well, these imams have nothing to do with the attack. What the hell has got to do with one has to do with the other? So this was as ridiculous as that. And to be fair, also there was one thing I want to mention, just to be fair, is that a lot of Muslims came and supported me as well. Like they said, I want to also mention there are a lot of Muslims that very much disagree with a lot of what I had to say, but they said, well, this is bullshit. What the hell does the terrorist attack have to do with deplatforming Armin's speech? So credit to the Muslims that said this as well.
Do you mind if I ask what exactly the topic of the speech was going to be that you would set out initially?
Well, the topic was going to be, I mean, and I don't know if Drew is still in the live chat. It was supposed to be about the reforming Islam versus abandoning Islam, and Drew did an amazing summary video on that on his channel, Genetically Modified Skeptic. Go check that out. But I changed the topic based on the deplatforming, and I tried to talk to you about how to address Islam and how at a time when in the face of such oppression and mistreatment of Muslims around the world, how do you deal with Islam and how do you talk about Islam, and what is the agenda of people that use terror attacks on Muslims to push their agenda, right? Like one thing I pointed out during the speech was the fact that as Atheist Republic, as a group that we are constantly are told that we are anti-Muslim bigots, or I was recently called a diet Nazi and stuff like that. Even though as a atheist group, we constantly speak on behalf of Muslims when they are actually mistreated, right? We do that all the time, and we do that especially when Muslims are being attacked, and there's not that many Muslims even are talking about it. For example, when Muslims are being oppressed by China on such a scale that I'm to this day, I'm still confused about the lack of attention that this story is getting. It is getting some attention, but nothing compared to what you would expect. I mean, for example, China has put more than, I don't know exactly if it's more, around 1 million Muslims in concentration camps, right? Wow. And when we're talking about the crimes against Muslims in Yemen, in civilians in Yemen, something done by both Saudi Arabia and Iran, and mostly by Saudi Arabia, but also supported by countries like United States, the UK, Greece, Germany. This is something that we constantly talk about, and we constantly try to we beg people to pay more attention to these things.